Hi, welcome. How are you doing today? Good, I'm glad to hear it. So I know today you're here for a brief color analysis, right? Okay, and then we're also going to be styling a dress for you, right? Or not styling, I'm sorry. Designing a dress for you, correct? Okay. And you had an appointment with us at 2 today, right? Okay, perfect. I'm just going to take a quick peek at you here and I'm getting my first judgment of you before we get started. I know that sounds mean, but I'm just going to take a quick look at all of your features before we start doing some analysis, okay? Do you have any questions for me before we get started? Okay. It's a fairly easy process. I'm just going to look at your features and ask you a couple of questions about what you normally wear and what you like wearing for colors and for jewelry. And then from there I will look at a couple of my resources and see based off of your hair color, your skin color, your eye color. Yeah, it's not that complicated of a process, just doing some eliminating. So let's see here. I'm just going to open up my notes quick. Okay. So you tell me, what do you normally wear for colors? You personally like how earth tones look, okay? And specifically out of the earth tones that you like, what colors do you lean towards? A green like this, okay? Okay, nothing too bright and bold. So, would you say do you wear any oranges or yellows? Not really, okay. You feel like yellows and golds with your hair color kind of drown you out? Okay. And you wear brown? Okay. Now, this is kind of a silly thought, but brown is just dark orange. So you do wear oranges. Yeah, I know that's silly. Okay, you just don't like a bright orange. You like something more of a something like you'd see in nature, right? Like leaves in the fall. Okay. Again, muted tones. How do you feel about white? Okay, you don't like harsh white? So not like Snow White, but like a cream. Okay. Do you wear any other colors besides the earth tones? Do you branch out to like mint or lavender? Anything jewel toned? Maybe a red? Like a sapphire? Okay. Burgundy. What about blues? I'm sorry, not a sapphire, that's blue. I mean an emerald's green. Ruby. Okay, so you do wear like, yeah, we talked about that. Burgundy. I meant ruby, not sapphire. But do you wear blues? So, okay, you like navy? I kind of see the trend here. Yeah. Now, I'm just going to do a couple of tests with you. I am going to hold up some jewelry against your skin. So if you could hold your wrist out like this, straight in front of you. I'm just going to put this gold necklace around your wrist here to just kind of see what it looks like. Yeah, I'm just going to drape it. And if you could flip it to the upside, you know, where I can see your veins too. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. And now I'm just going to also take silver jewelry and do the same thing. Okay. So I feel like you are I think you're more of a silver person. I'm just going to open up my notes again here. Yeah. Next, what we are going to do is I'm just going to make notes of your features. Yeah. It's not that complicated. So, do you normally have your hair this color? Do you ever like dye it blonde, bleach it blonde, or add highlights? Do you do any crazy colors? Okay, so it's normally this. Okay, so it's like a dark brown right now. And I'm just going to take a closer look at your eyes here. Do you feel like your eyes are more hazel or more blue? Blue eyes. Interesting. I would say that they're almost more hazel and actually on the greener side. Yeah, I would probably say they're more like a hazel eye if you feel like they transition. Dark brown hair, hazel eyes, and I don't mean this as an insult, but you're fairly pale. I know where I live, here, we just came out of winter, pretty much. 6 weeks ago, we had snow on the ground. Isn't that crazy? And it's the end of June. I know I need to get some color. We haven't really had we've had some very hot days with the sun shining out, but you don't really want to be outside when it's so hot. Yeah. So I understand I need to get some color myself. But just remember to wear sunscreen. Okay. So let's take a look at my resources here and compare with you. So if you've had a color analysis done before, you know that there are 4 seasons that people typically use to reference their colors. There's spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So I'll just show you some examples of the colors. As you can see, I have them hanging up back here. Let's start with spring. So spring colors are warm and cheery, very bright and vibrant. Are there any colors from the spring section that you wear? This color up here you like? And this cream? Okay. That's good for me to know. This is autumn. Again, autumn colors are more warm toned colors. Now, you tell me that you wear these colors, and I see that. I think this is a good color palette for you, but we will just go through some details before we carry on. The jewelry test of do you wear gold or silver sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. You know, everybody is different with their undertones, but you wear silver jewelry, and I personally wear silver jewelry, and I like the earth tones on me better too. So you could be a cool undertone, but like the warmer colors on you. Usually it's cool, cool, warm, warm. But we'll just go through some processes here. Then we have summer. Summer colors are more jewel toned, but brighter. Yep. So these are very vibrant pinks, blues, yellows, reds, purples. And winter. Winter is another cool palette. And these colors are a little bit more on the darker end. So summer is the cool, vibrant colors. Winter is cool, muted. Are there any colors here that you wear? This side here. Okay. Got it. If you are a cool toned person, usually bright white looks best on you. And if you are a warm toned person, the cream looks better. It's not so harsh, doesn't bring out so much redness. So let's look at spring. Now the colors are broken down into, the seasons are broken down to clear or deep. And then each season can also be cool or warm. Yeah, just imagine a big color wheel, or more like directions, north, south, east, and west. You have spring, summer, winter, autumn. And like the directions, you have in-betweens. So you have southeast, northeast, southwest, northwest. So that's kind of how the seasonal colors work too. You have cool winter, warm winter, cool spring, warm spring. Does that make sense to you? Okay, sounds good. So let me just take a look here. You tell me that you wear warmer colors, so I'm going to start in our warmer color palettes. So for example, we're also going to be using the terms clear, which is true. So if you're a clear spring, you're a true spring. So your color palette would be like what's back here. Okay, let me know if I'm confusing you at all. Yeah, don't be afraid to interrupt and ask questions, okay? Okay. Before we get too deep into this subject, do you want something to drink? Yeah, we have water, coffee, tea, or juice. I just have orange juice. Okay, you'll go with coffee instead? Sounds good. It'll just be a couple minutes for me to grab that for you, so just sit back and relax and I'll make you some coffee. Okay. Alright, I'm back with your coffee. I'm just going to set that back here on my table when you are ready for me to do so. So here you go. I put cream and sugar in it for you. I hope that's okay. Okay, that's how I take my coffee too, so I just do it for my customers if I forget to ask. And if they don't like it, I'll drink it. Alright, I'll take that for you. And interrupt me at any time if you'd like another drink, okay? Okay. So like I said, we're going to start with the warmer palettes, so spring. Now, a clear spring, you have more of a golden medium to dark hair. So like dark brown, auburn, and sometimes copper tones. And your hair is on the more dark brown side, like you said. And if you spend a lot of time in the sun, it'll become more golden and light, and you'll get more like blonde streaks in it, right? Okay. And with a clear spring, your skin is also more pale. So porcelain, ivy, peach, bronze, warm brown, or a brown-black color. But you're more on the porcelain ivory side. Don't worry, like I said, I am too. And your eyes are more of a hazel color, so that is also a true spring. And the color palette is maybe a little bit more brighter than you normally wear. So, for example, those are the colors. Yeah, I'd say those are a little bit more bright than what you normally wear, based off of what you told me. So let's look at a light spring. Again, the hair is more medium golden blonde or brown. So I would say that's more of like your summer hair. And a light spring also has hazel eyes, like you have. But again, I don't think these colors really fit with what you told me you like to wear. And based off of your appearance here today, I don't think a light spring would be best for you. Here is their color palette. And so let's move on to a warm spring. This is now getting closer to your colors that you told me you like to wear. And their hair color is a more light golden brown. Which, like you said, again, in the summertime your hair gets a little bit lighter with more blonde streaks in it, right? Okay. And the eyes, again, are a blue-green hazel color. So, like we've talked about before, that's kind of the color that you described. And here is their color palette. A warm spring seems like it fits a person with more copper-toned hair. So now let's take a look at a true autumn. So a true autumn would be somebody who has more golden blonde to dark brown hair. And that's what we described today. You have more of a lighter toned skin, which again, what we talked about. And the eyes again can be like a hazel color or blue-green. And here is their color palette. Is this color palette something that you feel comfortable wearing? Some of them? Okay. You like the yellows and the gold colors? Okay. Good to know. Now let's take a look at a warm autumn. This is somebody who has a medium to dark brown hair, which again we've talked about. And in the summertime your hair gets a little bit lighter. And again, the skin tone for a warm autumn is more on the paler side, like you have. And we have hazel eyes here again, which we've talked about. And here is their color palette. You like those colors? Okay, almost too vibrant for you. Is it the reds and the pinks? Okay. And let's see what deep autumn is. So a deep autumn is the medium dark brown hair to brown black. And you can have golden or ginger highlights. So that kind of sounds like what you've described to me about your summer hair when you spend a lot of time outside. Again, your skin color falls underneath the deep autumn, and your eye color does as well. It almost feels like deep autumn is your color palette here. So this is what the deep autumn color palette is. Yeah. I can see there's like a navy, burgundy, the olive greens that you like, a forest green. And you described to me that you do wear like a mint color, which is not on here, but it is on our autumn color palette over here. So yeah, autumn is your color palette. And we kind of knew that right from the beginning. You're more of a deep autumn too, so your colors are more on the warmer side and deeper. But they're still clear and bright. Yes. So I'm just going to take a note of that here before we start designing your dress. And is there a special occasion for this dress, or are you just looking for something more tailored towards your style? Okay. So you are a deep autumn. I should probably spell that right in my notes. And you just want a tailored dress. Okay. Can you describe to me what style of dress you are looking for? Are you looking for something more like a satiny slip dress? Or are you looking for something that's more cotton? Okay. What about a more technical material, kind of like a quick dry polyester? No. Okay. But we're getting closer? Okay. Describe the cut to me, how you want it cut. Are you looking for more of a scoop neck with skinny straps, like a beach cover-up kind of thing? Maybe something that's made with gauze? Okay. I see. We're getting closer. I think cotton is actually what you're looking for. You're looking for more of something that's on the heavier side that sits nicely, like a cotton polyester elastane combination. Okay. So probably like 77% cotton. Okay. To 98%. Okay. So if we go 98% cotton, it's probably going to be more like 2% elastane. Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Perfect. And now, can you describe the cut? Okay, so thick. Thick straps. A boat neck. Or square. Okay. And what length? Mid, just above the knee. Okay. And what about the waist? Are you looking for something that's just a straight cut, or are you hoping to have like some sort of band at the waist? Yeah, I can do a quick sketch of both. Okay. So let me just sketch those out for you quickly. Okay, so thick straps and a square neck. Okay. Did you want it to be a tight fitting dress, or flare out at the bottom? Flare at the bottom. And the skirt, do you want it to have some movement? Like pleats or anything? I think if we did the band, you're gonna want pleats. And then if no band, I think you'd want to go tight fitting. And the sketch is kind of just going to be like a box, honestly. And the boat neck with the thick straps. Okay, very simple sketch, but this is your belted and pleated skirt, or straight. And then this is kind of what the boat neck would look like. Yeah, it's more of a high, it'd probably be higher than that even. Probably more like this. You like the square, no pleats. Okay. Square, no pleat or band. All right. So I'm just going to take some measurements quick. Here you go, have a sip of coffee. Okay. And I'm just going to take some quick measurements of you. And if you could just stand up for me, and then stand up straight and tall. Good. And I'm going to measure shoulder to shoulder here. Oh. Okay. And how far down do you want it to come, the cut? Do you want it to be right above your breasts, or up higher here? More modest. More modest, okay. So I'm going to measure from your neck down here. And we probably want that to be about 3 inches. Okay. And then I'm just going to measure around you. So we're just parting my reach here. And then I'm going to measure around the thickest part of your chest. Okay. and your waist. And if you could take a deep breath in for me and relax with it. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. And I'm just going to measure the full length from your neck to top of your knee. Now, do you want it right above the knee, or do you want it like an inch or two? Okay, 2 inches above. So stand up straight, tall. Okay. And now I'm going to measure around the widest part of your hips. Okay? I just always give myself extra, so don't worry. You're just perfect. Okay, now that I have your measurements, I would just like to go over a couple of patterns with you. If you are interested in a patterned dress, otherwise, we can just do a plain color. Or if you want to order multiples, we can do that too. Yeah. So let me just grab my samples. I've got quite a few samples here of some patterns in Carry. And we have these in different colors, so if you don't like the color that I'm sampling with you, just let me know. And when your dress is made, we'll use that other color. So I have a red buffalo plaid. And if you'd like to look in the mirror over here while I hold these up to you, you can tell me if you like them or not. Here I have navy and white stripes. Now this is a true white. Yeah, I don't think that the true white is too bad with the navy on your skin and for your color palette. Here is another plaid. This one is just a wider plaid. Okay. Here I have a lilac kind of polka dot pattern. Yeah, it's a very small polka dot. Now this doesn't look too bad with your complexion and your hair. It's not on your color chart, of course, but I think that's okay. You know, it's more about what you feel comfortable wearing and what you feel good in. The color analysis just helps you kind of start with a baseline if you don't really know what to wear. Yeah. Here I have this crazy blue and green pattern. It's kind of floral. And we could do something with more muted tones here. Something with more of a navy and maybe a forest green. It'd be a darker dress. You know, even mint green and peach would be very pretty. But here is what this looks like. Okay. You like the pattern, just not the colors. Okay. This is more of a chevron pattern. With blues. I think this works well with your color palette. It's a little bit more brighter and bold, but I think it'd be good for the summer. Then I have an owl pattern, if you wanted owls. Yeah, I don't think it would be a very good dress fabric, but if you were to do pillows or something. Or maybe a t-shirt. Here I have pretty butterflies. I think this would be a very beautiful dress. Very fun. Yeah, it's got all different colors in it. If you wanted to, we could add a little bit of trim to the bottom of the dress with the lilac polka dots if you liked that. Here I have a navy and blue floral pattern. I think this one would look really nice with your color palette and your complexion. Yeah, that looks really beautiful. And here I have another plaid. This one is navy this time. It's very similar to the red one I showed you. But what do you think about that? Okay. So we liked, these were our top favorites, right? Okay, we can do 2 dresses for you. Same style of dress? Okay. And with the butterflies, did you like the idea of adding like a ruffled trim to the bottom with the polka dots? I can show you those 2 together here. Something like this. Yeah, I think that looks really pretty. Here, I can open it up more for you so you can kind of see. Yeah, I think that would be a very cute dress. So, let me just make notes of that for you. What about this pattern? Did you want a dress made in this pattern? Here's our basic autumn color palette. And here is the pattern. I think your color palette would work. Yeah, these blues kind of go with this. Okay, we'll stick with that then. So we'll do these 4 fabrics, 3 dresses. We've got the blue and green floral pattern as 1 dress. Then we have the butterflies and lilac trim. And then we have the navy floral. I think all of those would look great, and they're all gonna look amazing on you. Let me just take those notes down while you're here. And production of these dresses is probably going to be about 2 weeks. Are you okay with that? Okay, so butterflies with lilac polka dots. Okay. And then the navy flowers. And peach flowers. And the blue floral. Okay, so like I said, production will be about 2 weeks, and we do ask for a deposit on the dresses before we start production. That will be $100 today, and then we'll call you with the final price. The ending price, so the deposit goes towards your end total, so the remaining balance for the 3 dresses will probably be about $80. All right, thank you. I'll just ring your card up. Do you need a receipt today? Okay. Here's your card back. Thank you so much for stopping in today. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a very enjoyable and relaxing process. If you'd like to finish your coffee, here it is. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had such a good time. Your dresses are going to be absolutely beautiful. And I think they're going to look great on you. And before we take the final payment, we ask that you come in and try on the dresses, and we can do any alterations that you may need. Yep. Perfect. I'll take your mug back. Thank you. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for stopping in, and we will contact you in a couple of days. Or not a couple of days. It'd probably be more like 4 to 6 days before you hear back from us for your fitting. And then once you come in for the fitting, we will alter those if there's anything that needs to be altered and do the finishing touches, and then we'll call you in the remaining days. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye!